What's up, guys? Today I've got a ranking of the top 5 edge rushers heading into the 2023 college football season. Now, does this class have a Will Anderson? At this point, we don't know yet, but this class seems to be deeper, starting as early as the second best edge on compared to the 2023 class. So expect to see tons of production and sacks from these guys in 2023, and take note of their numbers so you can point them out in the upcoming season. So at the 5th spot here, we have Chop Robinson. He's 6'3", 242 pounds, and he's a sophomore. He was a little bit of a harder evaluation for me because the only tape that I could watch of him was against Purdue. But you could see why he's on this list in that game. He uses his strength to his advantage. You can tell he's going to make a big impact if he gets more playtime in 2023 for sure. He was the 3rd highest PFF pass rushing grade in the Big Ten last year. That was on, I believe, the 3rd or the 2nd most defensive end snaps, or Penn State somehow, even though he was dealing with an injury, some type of injury, which limited his play throughout the season. But with Kalen King, Abdul Carter, and a solid surrounding group on the front 7, Robinson's going to be a feature player to watch on that defense in 2023. At 4, I have MYKEL Williams, and if you watch the Georgia game versus OSU, or even the Georgia game versus TCU, the biggest games of Georgia's season, really, Williams, when on the field, was a problem. So in the playoff game versus OSU, Williams was coming off the right side of the D-line, so going against the left tackle. And Ohio State's left tackle is Paris Johnson. And if you watch that tape, Paris Johnson seemed to have quite a hard time with Williams. He was probably honestly, out of these 5, he's probably the most physically gifted. And Georgia really has the pieces to replace the pieces they're going to lose in the 2023 draft in Nolan Smith and Jalen Carter. And MYKEL Williams is definitely going to benefit from that. So he's number 13, or he was at least this year, so definitely be on the watch out for him next year. All right, at the 3 spot, I have Dallas Turner. Turner has played opposite of Will Anderson for the 2 years he's been there. And Will Anderson will not be there next year because Anderson declared for the draft. And a lot of people believe that Will Anderson got most of his production, or Dallas Turner got most of his production because Will Anderson was on the other side of the field, or the D-line. But Dallas Turner proved that he can get it done himself. If you watch him play, his 10-second split, it's got to be up there with some of the best. He has a strength aspect to his game, but he seems to be more speed and bend based. And Bama had a down year this year, but that will not be happening in 2023. It never really happens for Nick Saban to have 2 down years in a row. So definitely watch out for Dallas Turner to be a big part of that defense. All right, at 2, I have Jared Verse. A lot of people are going to say Jared Verse should be at 1, but I'm not completely convinced he's as good as the one guy that I have. He obviously had a really good year last year, transferred from Albany to FSU. He was going to be a top 10 draft pick, especially if you look at the way things have developed through the pre-draft process with the combine and everything for some of the players like Tyree Wilson and Lukas Van Ness, who I would have never thought would be a top 10 pick, who might be now. But he decided to return to FSU, and he's going to look to make himself the number 1 edge rusher and possibly a top 5 pick. He had plenty of opportunities to prove himself and improve his stock with FSU facing off against LSU for the first game. And he did that, and he's going to have that opportunity coming up this next year because they play him in the first game again. He really does have the ideal build for an NFL edge rusher, and he probably would have went somewhere in between Tyree Wilson and Nolan Smith in the draft class of 2023. Definitely be on the lookout for him in FSU because they're going to be a good team this year. And the best edge rusher in the 2024 class I'm predicting to be is BRALEN TRICE. And Trice actually had more QB pressures in 2022 than Will Anderson did. But unfortunately for Trice, because of that, he's probably going to be getting that Will Anderson treatment, and that means a lot of double teams. So Verse had all the hype and has all the hype really at the moment for that 2024 draft class. But if you look at Washington's team and Trice's potential, he could definitely be the top guy. He's very strong and aggressive at the point of contact. Showed he could maneuver through double teams a few times, and he's going to have to deal with that a lot this coming year. Like I said, Washington has the offense to make the playoffs, and Trice is going to look to make that defense meet the same standard that the offense has. So that's going to wrap up the top 5 edge rushers that I have for the 2024 draft class. There's a lot of players that I would have included. A lot of people are going to be wondering where JT Tuilamolau is, but I'm gonna put him more in the defensive end rather than edge class. Another person I would have liked to include would be Chico Bennett Jr. From Virginia, but I think I'm gonna go with defensive end with him too. But basically, that's gonna wrap up this video. I think that if all these players declare, this class is gonna definitely be stacked at edge. I think it's gonna be more stacked than this 2023 class. Let's hope all these players can stay healthy, and in 2023 they just demolish tackles game in and game out. But if you enjoyed, please subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.